You guys have seen the past Unpopular Opinions video. It's been a long ass time. It's been like 6-7 months, but we are finally here to do Unpopular Opinions Part 2. And as I said on my community post, drop all the opinions you have in the comments, and you guys dropped a bunch of comments. So I am here to read the comments today, but I'm joined today by a special guest. For the first time ever on this channel, we have another person to collab with. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
What to do? Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Welcome,
that was
bro.
so bad.
Nah, it's good, bro.
It's me. It's your boy Mugen. I'm the guy with the Legoshi face. That's me. Thank you for having me, sir.
Of course, bro. Of course. Channel link in the description. Of course, check him out. He's got a lot of similar videos to me. So if you like my videos, you're gonna like his videos as well, probably. So go and check him out. And I'm excited to get this started. Excited to roast some people. And let's go.
Yes.
One Piece is good when it's good, but almost all the side character episodes are filler. Even if Oda is great at foreshadowing and character writing, he introduces a bunch of random characters every arc to add padding to the series and postpone the actual main plot. So I don't know if you've seen One Piece. Have you seen it?
I'm a non-One Piece Andy, but I've been around long enough to be exposed to it that I feel like I can understand what he's trying to say.
Yeah, I 100% agree with this take. It's very true. It's almost as though every arc is like an anime of its own. You know what I mean? Like they introduce so many like filler side characters. It kind of gets annoying at times, especially with the recent arc of Wano. It's the longest arc in the entire story, and they introduce some extremely just useless characters, and they end up keeping them. They end up almost killing them and end up keeping them, and that completely pisses me off sometimes.
Do you think it's like it's padding, like he's in terms of a manga just trying to find time to dedicate real good I guess writing to the main plot, or do you think it's just something that he himself does personally?
I feel like he just does that with every arc because the main characters are always there no matter what, but I feel like he just adds those side characters in because every arc has sort of like a backstory of its own. All those characters that he adds in have their own backstory, so they do actually tie into the plot. I'd say the biggest problem for me though is just they're not that interesting as characters. Like you can add them in, but they're not that interesting as a character, which is like my main problem with some of the One Piece characters on the side. But it's not the worst thing to be complaining about with the series, for sure.
We don't want to see the Psy guys. We want to see Luffy. We want to see Nami. We want to see the boys.
Exactly. That's it.
Right.
Yep.
All right. We got next one. This one's a long one. I don't know if I should read all of this. Number one, Bleach is underrated. I know that Bleach has one of anime manga's biggest communities, but the disrespect it gets is just in another level. People lie and spread misinformation about it just because they want to believe it's bad. The hype is big for the anime, but even the community disappoints every day. Even the ones who's supposed to be fans agree with those lies and misinformation because they didn't pay attention to the story. Kubo made a genius level story with the world building amazingly good, and almost no one recognizes it because people watched it only for the fights. Bleach's main focus is story and character development. People don't realize it and think it is bad. There's a lot of other stuff here, but I think I get the consensus here. I haven't read Bleach personally, but I watched it when I was younger, right? So I watched like, I think it was the first arc back in the day. I vaguely remember some stuff. I just remember like the English VO and being like, oh, that guy sounds cool. He's pretty goated. And I think, honestly, if you could take this, what he's saying, and just apply it to any kind of anime or manga community, because I see this comment sometimes pretty much on any there, in terms of just like, you know, the distinction between what's a fan and what's not. But I don't know. What do you think? Are you a Bleach reader?
I have read Bleach. I actually reread it like not too long ago. But some things I kind of agree with. But something like I do agree that Bleach is sort of underrated, especially in the big three. It's usually the one that gets left out the most in the big three. But I wouldn't say like Bleach's main focus is the world building and the character development. You know, like that doesn't like it's kind of clear that that's not what they're really going for. There's some good characters, but I just feel like the fights is what makes Bleach, you know?
It's the shonen kind of hype action sort of thing.
Exactly.
Do you think it does that more than the other two?
In terms of fighting, yeah, I would say, especially for me, like personally, I do like the fights in Bleach more than the other two. But story-wise, I definitely would say it's the weakest out of the big three. Because, you know, like Ichigo is the one that doesn't really have a main goal. He just kind of saves his friends, right? And I think that's pretty cool. It's a nice change of pace with like, I want to be Hokage and all that. But at the same time, it's like, are you really gonna go to these kind of lengths to save a girl every arc? You know what I'm saying? So it is really hype with the fights, you know, but it's not entirely like perfect with the story.
Right. You want your character to have a goal regardless. I mean, like even you can look at the stereotype of the parody of Saitama in One Punch Man, right? Where he's like, you know, he's got a goal, but it's also like a kind of a joke of a goal. But at the same time, he still wants a enemy that he can fight and not beat just in one go.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you know.
Yeah, like for another example of a character who doesn't have a goal but is still a phenomenal character is like Guts in the Golden Age arc. He doesn't really have like a goal, right? But his character is like finding the goal, right? And that itself is a goal. You know what I mean? So that makes it so good. The same guy, by the way, the same guy that you just pointed out has like a little top 10 anime manga at the bottom.
I just saw that.
Yeah, so a lot of these I have not seen, right? Just looking at it, it's like it's not that bad. You know, I kind of rate it.
Yeah, I would do it. I mean, like, yeah, he's already got me with Vinland and Vagabond at the top, so I'm already like, you know, I respect. And then you know, I do remember seeing like the Fate series and stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Monster,
Monster's phenomenal, yeah.
It's great. It's not bad. It's not bad. I'll rate it. Yeah.
I just Bleach over Monster. I don't know about that.
I don't know. I guess. I mean, you know, a bit of a taste, I guess. I mean, to each his own. Some people like the philosophical mental battle between human morality. Some people just like killing monster. You know?
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, it is just up to the person sometimes. So, unpopular opinion. This is a really weird one. The horse in Berserk can't be tamed.
The horse in Berserk can't be tamed.
No, actually, it says it can be tamed. My bad. It can be tamed.
Can be tamed?
Yeah.
I don't know about that one, Chief.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna, you know.
I think, oh man, there's a lot. I mean, look, this conversation could last like 5 minutes or it can last like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
How tamed are we going here?
That's very true. That's very true. It depends. Was the horse entirely possessed in that moment? Because I don't quite remember it like that well.
Yeah, it kind of was. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Look, I'm pretty sure. No, like unless you are literally the God Hand. And even then, you can't tame a demonic horse. Yeah. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah,
it's not gonna happen. Yeah, it's a lose-lose scenario here.
I think in this situation, we just say no. Disagree.
Yeah, it's a no.
Yeah,
it's a no from me, Chief. Okay, here we go. Mine is plain and simple: manga over anime.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, you going with that one?
I definitely agree with that one. Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I actually sat down and watched an anime, because when I think about whenever, like I have some people at work who go like, why don't you just watch it? And I'm like, because I could read 20 episodes in 1 hour.
Exactly. That's one of the things. That's definitely one of the things.
It's like, that's the one thing I think, like when people, you know how the meme is like, oh, I'm a manga reader, and you adjust your glasses and the sun flares off you.
Classic.
Honestly, one of the main reasons is not even the artwork, it's not even the writing, it's not even the paneling, it's the time. The amount of time that you save. And it's kind of like, I got everything I needed, even without dialogue, audio, visual effects, characters moving. And I think, you know, people just, you know, just think about that. Just imagine being like, oh, I read this manga, no filler, and I did it in half the time.
Yep.
You'd be like, that's a thing? So, I mean, like, the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, yeah, I don't want to get a superiority complex, but, I mean, look, there are some really good logistical reasons to read the manga.
Also, you can just go at your own pace, right? Like, there's no filler stopping you. You can just take your time, or you can go fast if you want. You can skip the annoying moments, you know? That's...
Yeah. You could just, like, you know, all right, today I'm going to read another volume, and then in, like, 2 weeks, you could have finished, like, a 200 or 100 chapter manga, just like that. I will say, there is some things that anime has. Like, it's got pacing. Like, there are some, like your eye and you dictate the pace of how you read it. So like that's one thing that anime can do, is they can set tone and pacing, because if you just flip page and then there's this huge moment and you didn't, like, I guess, really look through, you maybe, some readers would look at that and be like, whoa, that was out of nowhere. But at the same time, you know, you could do that. It's so much with so many different series. You could just it's just so good.
It is. The thing that I love about anime that I will say is just the music, but I think But I think what would, like, counteract the music, or even sometimes beat the music for me with manga, is the artwork. I don't know, I love the artwork. Just for some reason, something about manga just feels like so cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, when you see a action scene in like any kind of movie or anime and you can pause it and you'd be like, oh man, that looks kind of cool, and in motion it also looks cool. But imagine looking at that same one, but it's in so much detail that you're kind of like, how do you even begin to draw this? And you're kind of just like starstruck. It's a very unique feeling.
Basically every Berserk, every Berserk spread is like that, you know. So dude, I can't even express some of the panels, man. Oh my goodness,
dude, that's ungodly.
Okay, this is an interesting one. Vinland Saga falls off after the farm arc. Hild starts out interesting, but becomes really one-note and repetitive really quickly.
I was literally gonna read that one next because I saw it. I'm like, I'm getting mad. I'm getting mad. Okay, do you agree with this one since you're the one who read it?
It depends of the severity of falls off, because you can say that one arc is better than the other, but I wouldn't say like it's not enjoyable afterwards. You know what I mean? I will say the farm arc. I actually will say the I think it's called the Baltic War arc, the arc after the farm arc was also really good. Like the Vinland arc right now has been slow for a long time. It's been slow since it started. You know, and it's good, right?
It's been of course, I agree. It like the Vinland arc is like Farm 2.0.
Exactly.
Right? That's a narrative device because you can tell it's slowly building. You can feel this is like, it's like, you know, you put a lid on top of a pot of boiling water. Eventually, that thing's gonna blow off.
Yep.
And I feel the same. But falls off, like when I think falls off, I think decline, readership's down, everything's down, character development's down. Like I think falls off is like one of the worst things you could say about any kind of media. In terms of like everything's down, like no one's talking about it, no one's watching it, everything's declining, you know, massive stock drop.
Yeah.
But like I do not think it falls off. If anything, like the character, like paneling better,
definitely
the detail is way better, way 100%. Better. It's an incredible arc, and I get why people don't like it. I think it's very easy to, I mean, it's like if you took a more of a shonen, right? Or say if we took Attack on Titan, because we were reading that, and you had an entire arc where Eren goes out and he stays out in a cabin alone for like, you know, 30 chapters. Many people will probably be like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I want him to fight some Titans. Yeah, it feels very like out of nowhere. But narratively, it just makes the most sense because it's doing the opposite of what you think should happen. Right, like you think, you know, I've got to get my revenge. It's like, nope, that's not how it goes.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. Yeah.
What do you think of Hild? The comment on Hild.
I don't really get how. I mean, she does start out interesting. Like the way she's introduced and the connection with Thorfinn from the past is cool. And I can kind of see why they think she becomes like repetitive later on, because she's just kind of saying the same thing all the time. Right?
Yeah.
But there's moments where she slowly progresses. You know, like you slowly see some progression in her. She's starting to become warmer and warmer towards Thorfinn and like the whole gang. And then eventually, you know, certain things happen. But I don't really think she becomes repetitive. And I actually really enjoy her character, especially so far, like where the manga is currently ongoing.
I agree. I totally agree. Because it does feel one note, right? And it can feel like she's just has one singular kind of vibe. But if you really pay attention, she's always making choices. Like, I don't want to say, of course, because like spoilers, but there are moments where she could have made a choice to do X and she didn't. And that is character development. That is hesitation. That is so many different things. Like, she is even though she has told Thorfinn what her goal is, she is constantly making decisions about the best way to do that. And it's just very, I think the reason is just it's not the main focus, and it's very subtle, and some people can see it as nothing's happening. But yeah, also there's so much room for more to happen. It's it's a character who's going against change, which is like the main thing you want characters to do, is to grow and change. And you have a character who doesn't want to. It's like, some people may see that as, I think, just like, why aren't you changing? And I think that's kind of the whole point, I guess.
Yeah, she's also a really good parallel to early Thorfinn. So that's also,
absolutely.
You know.
All right, I've got There's an interesting one. High School DxD is an actually interesting and good anime, but people are hating it too much for the fan service.
I saw that one early on. I haven't really seen High School DxD, but I know the whole idea of it, right?
I'm not gonna lie, High School DxD was with me in my actual high school days.
Damn. Okay, so I guess you could take it away here. What do you think of this take?
Look, let's be honest. Okay. If you could argue there is always a good story when it follows character. I mean, okay, it's hard to describe because like part of you's like, okay, you want to think it's a good story, but at the same time, am I really here to see this guy succeed and grow, or am I just here to see him get laid by all these women? I didn't, when I watched it, I think I had that same moment where you keep watching your favorite moments and you're like, oh, this is really cool. But I'm like, why did I start watching this to begin with? It could be one of those, it's very like, not the most full on kind of fan service like show, but there's just a lot of boob. There's a lot of booba. And I imagine that is the gateway drug to get you into watching the anime. If so, very smart.
Honestly, it's a really smart marketing tactic, I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, it works. It's worked. It's worked since the 80s. You put Ghost on the shell, you put half naked lady on poster, I'm gonna go watch that movie.
As soon as you put it on the cover, it's like sales just go up.
Yeah, people are like, oh, I like Akira, but this one's got naked lady, I'll go watch that. Absolutely.
Yep, exactly.
But yeah, it's a good anime. You know, I mean, it could be one of those things again, like One Punch Man, where it's like, say you take like this hentai shonen fan service anime and then you subvert it by making it about like this guy who's like learning more about himself while also trying to get a harem. That could be a manga and anime that exists. I have not seen it happen so far. That's $1 million idea if anyone wants to do that.
If you could do a romance / fan service anime correctly, I mean, that's kind of the best way.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's the best of both worlds. Good anime, I mean, you could get a lot out of it for you personally, and I'll say, that's it. That's all what I'll say.
Besides, like, there's a lot more, like, better anime, let's be honest, right? Like, there's better ways to spend your time, you know?
That's true. That's true. But yeah, man, you know, some days you're like, do I really want to read a story about, you know, this guy going through this moral complexity, or do I want to look at boob? That's kind of tough.
That's true. That's
like the scales.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, you know what? Good anime? Yeah. Just do your thing.
We'll see. Yeah, you know. I prefer the art style change with Studio Gaga, especially with Griffith.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm just going to say no.
Now we're getting to the good stuff.
I'm just going to say no completely at it. Like, because Kentaro Miura is just one of a kind with his artwork. I'm not saying Studio Gaga is bad, because absolutely not. Like, they've done what they can, right? Like, they've replicated Miura as much as they possibly can, which is amazing. Griffith, as you said, does look really good. A lot of the other characters, pretty much everyone looks really good. There's a couple odd panels that just kind of look weird for like a little bit of the panel, but that's to be expected, right? It's not Kentaro Miura. Yeah. Another thing is, like, we're getting chapters so frequently. Miura didn't publish chapters this frequently because he was so detailed with his artwork and like with health issues and stuff like that. So we gotta like appreciate that we're getting chapters really quickly, but I can't really put it over Miura's artwork, because I mean, there's just a few panels you can look at and be like, this is one of a kind. It's kind of not possible to replicate it entirely, you know?
I agree. I think there are panels that do seem somewhat, you know, a bit distinct in a lot of ways, and it's artistic. Like, looking at artists and how they draw their characters is such a weird way to like compare in a way, just because we like you said, they aren't Miura-san at all, and we aren't going to expect that level of artwork, right? So we should just respect them for at least taking artistic development. And it's crazy because I remember looking back at really old panels from my earlier chapters and seeing Guts grow and change and look different throughout the years kind of made me think, like, is there a panel, like, sometimes you may find panels or shots of characters where, oh, this character looks very different to what they look like now, even though they were drawn by the same person. Regardless, artistic development's gonna take place where, okay, they're gonna get a foothold on, right, this is what the character looks like from all these different angles, and we'll stick to this, right? I think Griffith looks fine. There are some panels where you may be like, oh, he just doesn't look the same, and that's to be expected again. But you can still look at him and you can see certain features in his face. You can see features in Guts' face and be like, oh, there he is. There's the character I know. And I think to achieve that is in a way its own W. You know, because that's not easy.
Definitely,
you know, and you're like, that's a lot of pressure. You're drawing for like one of the greatest artistic mangaka of all time, like illustrators.
100%, yep.
It's like that's huge shoes to fill, and to do if they were to do it like Miura, it would be a lose-lose situation even for like the fan base, because the fan base would probably get like very annoyed that chapters they're coming out as slow as they did when Miura-san was alive, and so I think to them they're like, all we can do is do it in our own way and get it at a pace that we're comfortable with while staying true to the story. And I think that's a decision I respect. But yeah, like we're gonna see characters look kind of different. I mean, Serpico doesn't look one-to-one, but like you still know it's Serpico. Yeah, it's not like you're looking and going like, who's this dude? I think that would be a huge red flag. But so I think look, you know, I think it's easy to criticize, but like the situation is so unique, because I feel like there aren't many situations like this in manga that have happened, right? Like,
yeah, definitely not.
Can't think of any other time that they continue to series
especially with the series pathway. Like Berserk, such a huge
so unique
series.
100%. Okay, here we go. This is an interesting one. I don't like Attack on Titan. It's absurdly overrated, plus with a character like Mikasa.
I have seen this one as well. Okay. I disagree because, I mean, okay, absurdly overrated is kind of harsh. You could say it's overrated because it's like one of the most popular anime, if not the most popular anime ever. But absurdly overrated is a bit much, because it's an amazing story. It's got great characters. It's got everything you really need in a story, which is why it's gained its popularity. It's not like you can entirely blame it on one thing or another for gaining its popularity. You can't be like, oh, it's just the animation, that's why it's got popularity, or it's just this, or it's just that. To me, Attack on Titan has like a combination of everything, which is why it's so popular and why it's honestly such a great story.
Yeah, I agree. I'm 100% on the same boat. Like, I get why people don't like things that are hype. You know, it's just the same mentality of like, oh, everyone likes this, and then you get into it and you're like, I don't get it, and so you reject it. But absurdly overrated, I wouldn't even say it's that overrated. Like, I mean, when it comes out, there's a fan base dedicated to it, and people like it because but when it's not out, like, it's like I still feel like I see Demon Slayer everywhere. Yeah, and that is probably the most popular shonen of recent memory. Like, not even in the last year, the last like couple years. So you could, I guarantee you there were so many people who would probably be like, oh, it's so overrated.
I'm not, you know, I'm not gonna say anything.
And there are, no, that's fine. It's fine. You know, we're not out here to expose, right? But it's you know, that's just like the way in which how we all kind of look at stuff like that is like what is considered popular. I'd even say like Attack on Titan now isn't as popular as it was when it first started.
Oh, 100%.
I think the hype is there for sure, but I don't think there are people who were watching in the first season are still here now and watching the latest season.
Yeah, I agree, but I would say that season 4 had like the biggest hype. Like the beginning of season 4, Attack on Titan was like everywhere. Like you could not go on any social media without seeing it. It was insane.
That's true, yeah. As a manga reader for that, it's like I just go on Twitter. I'm like, oh, so they finally did that episode, and I'm just like, oh shit,
bro. If you weren't a manga reader, like that is very dangerous. Going on any social media is so dangerous.
I'm kind of crazy. I kind of like it.
Yeah. What do you think of the ending, by the way, of Attack on Titan? That's another interesting
of the
thing.
Manga.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. I think it's unique. I think it's not the most. How spoilerish can I get into it? Just vague.
I guess I could put a little.
Just talk about my feeling.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm not gonna try it, but like, you know, it is very somber-ish as well as kind of hopeful at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think those kind of endings are cool. And it felt different as opposed to
very different
other endings I had read. You know, and it's kind of, I don't know. I think it encapsulates the reality in which the world is based in, which kind of reflects our own. And I think that's probably one of the things that made it so interesting of an ending to me. And I remember reading it at 3 a.m. because I was like, I speed ran the last chapters. And I said to my friends that, and this is probably why people think it's overrated. I think I said it's kind of like a modern classic, it feels like. This is like a manga that I think people will look at and be like, oh, do you remember when this aired? Or do you remember when this was releasing? Yeah. You know, it was, it's hard. I can't forget it. And I think that's a really good way to end off a series. But yeah, I'm happy with it. And I've heard of the anime only ending. So I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah,
right?
Bro, that's how my channel blew up in the first place.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I
just
made theories on that. Yeah, it would be so wild if they did that though. They really tied in.
I think it would be crazy.
Okay, so I know this person in real life, right? So, cause he always had this weird take on Berserk. This one dude, I swear, he's read Berserk. He's like, yeah, it's excellent, it's amazing. But then all of a sudden, he starts slandering Berserk. As of late, he's kind of been like, it's not the greatest thing ever and it's kind of overrated. So I'm gonna read this little paragraph he's written for us here.
So we're exposing, are we?
Yeah, sorta.
Alright.
Also kind of giving him a shout out, unnecessary shout out, but you know, it is what it is. He says, hardest seinen fall off ever. 95% are corny edgelords who overrate and overhype it heavy. The fans think reading it makes them special. If you say anything bad about it, the fans would egg your house and kill you. There is one good character. There is one good character, Griffith. The art is ugly. I don't care if it's detailed. Detail doesn't equal good art. The story isn't consistent. It sucks after Golden Age and has the hardest seinen manga or anime manga fall off in history. So that's a lot of stuff,
man. This man's trying to make enemies.
Yeah, it could kind of just be an exaggeration. I do think it's a bit of an exaggeration because
I do think he's having a bit of a meme.
Yeah,
but I respect it.
Yeah, he's gonna get. If we had like, if there was a lot of people on this post, if he put it on like Twitter or something with a lot of people, he would get absolutely flamed.
Just goes right into the subreddit. It's like, look, guys, this is the biggest fall off ever. No one likes this. All of you are edgelords.
Yeah.
I think I will say this. There is truth, I think, in terms of the modern world. There is truth to every meme. There is truth to every meme. 95%? Probably not. But if we get down to like a small minority, a vocal minority, I would say partially true. But yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah, especially
this man is
brave. Definitely. If you base the fans off people on Twitter, it's like, what fan base doesn't have bad fans in that situation, right? Like 95% corny edgelords. Like if you're talking about Twitter fans, then yeah, that makes sense. But a lot of Berserk fans are like really chill people from my experience.
Yeah, I think most of them are pretty chill. They just want to enjoy what they want to enjoy. Of course, every community is going to have their vocal minority. And I remember because I made a video about this and I thought I'm going to die because I made a video called is Berserk toxic or something along that lines, and I remember making it and being like, everything I'm gonna say about this community can also be applied to every single community
100%,
yep. You know, because it's like it's gonna be, you know, there are gonna be people who are gonna be gatekeeping, there are gonna be people who are gonna be like so invested and so protective of the property that of course they don't want Studio Gaga to continue. You know, they're gonna be very, very hostile towards people who don't understand. To which, you know, I think is actually, I think one of the biggest misconceptions about Berserk is that it's not something that anyone can just look at and understand, or look at and not understand.
Definitely.
You know, I did a video recently with my friend and I gave her a quiz.
Oh, I saw that.
Easy Berserk quiz.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and I was thinking like, she gets it. She kind of gets the basic premise of like, yeah, this is the story.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a lot of other like very, very shocking and scarring panels that could deter people from being like, this is a bit weird for me.
And what I love
at the same
too,
time,
you know. Yeah, but like what I love too is like they instantly put like a crazy panel in your face to just say like, okay, if you're not into like this dark fantasy kind of stuff, then just don't read, you know? First panel of Berserk is like, you know, it's pretty crazy, right?
I think it's just managing expectations, which is the same of reading any story, right? If I go into reading One Piece for the first time and I know it's like one of the biggest shonen ever made, it has over 1,000 chapters, I have certain expectations, right? And when people hear about Berserk and think of like, whoa, it's edgy, bro, and it's like a hardcore shit, only the hardcorest of readers can handle this. People are going to feel deterred, and you don't want you want people to come and see the thing that you like, you know? And I think that's one of the big things. But, you know, shout out to your mate. I respect this regardless. I also have a friend who could be this exact same guy who, whenever I hop in Discord, he's just like, yo, how you reading that Berserk thing? And I'm just like, oh yeah, it's going good. And he's like, he's still got a big sword. I'm like, yep. Death Note is the most boring and bland popular anime and is a drag to even try watching. Only recommendation I give to it is the music.
Well, Death Note's like one of the first anime I actually watched. It's like maybe 4th or 5th.
I think it's everyone's like at least first 10 that they ever watch.
For sure, yeah.
It's like the gateway drug.
Literally, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really say it's like bland, but I feel like the reason why you might think it is so is because since Death Note came out, so many series have tried to do like similar things to Death Note with like the mystery and just the way it's made. There's definitely series that I think are better, do what Death Note tries to do, but do it better. Like Monster to me is Death Note, but just completely perfect, you know? So that's one example.
Right, yeah.
If you're someone who's like getting into anime for the first time, I don't think Death Note would be necessarily boring, especially because it's completely different from the stereotypical like action shonen fights. There's literally no fights. It's completely mystery.
Yeah.
And it's actually really intriguing, especially if you're really new to anime. I think it's actually a pretty good watch. But if you're like a veteran, you know, you've read like the big manga, the really good series, like Death Note will kind of seem pretty okay for most people, with a few exceptions, of course.
I think it's an amazing anime to first start off watching. If you don't like Death Note, it may not mean that you don't like anime, but I think it's just a taste thing, because I think the reason why it's a good way to start off, because it gives you everything an anime can offer, and that is interesting concepts, great way to take things, and it could still be spun in a way where it's like, look, you have Light sitting in a chair and he's writing down names, but it's shot at, or it's drawn and animated in a way that it's like he's running and punching a guy. That's something you can kind of only do in an anime to a certain degree. I think Death Note is also a great way to start, because it's been tried to be adapted, but I think some of the best anime to begin with are ones that are kind of applicable to any kind of medium. Death Note could have been done as a live action first, maybe in a different country. Obviously can't now, because people know the original so well, and we know how that turned out with Netflix, right? I mean, we don't have to get into that. But I think if you look at the story of Death Note and you think, oh yeah, kid finds a notebook, you write a name in it, every single time that person dies, like that's a story that could go anywhere. Like it's a story could have been a novel, it could have been a TV show, it could have been a movie. And I think that's one of the strongest things about a story is like, could this have been something else? But it being a manga and an anime kind of heightens a certain reality to it, because it's kind of ridiculous in terms of him like eating chip, looking at the small TV in back.
To be fair, that was a pretty sick scene, not gonna lie.
But it was sick, right? It was hype. Like I think that's something that only the anime could have done, because I've seen the live action Japanese version, and that wasn't as hype. I was just like, I get why people think it's bland. Most people don't, when they watch anime, I don't think actually want to see, maybe it's a certain archetype, people want to see action more than just dialogue. But I'm someone who, I like Aaron Sorkin movies. People know who Aaron Sorkin is. He's a master of dialogue in film. And when I watch Death Note, I feel like I'm watching an Aaron Sorkin movie, and I'm listening to dialogue that makes me go, oh, I could just listen to these characters talk. Those are my favorite scenes. It's just Light and L talking.
Yeah.
Not even like the big moments, right?
That is true. They have a very good dynamic, for sure.
Yeah, it's amazing. The music, if he's the only recommendation you give is the music, it is pretty amazing. Yeah. It's pretty on point.
That's about it, isn't it? I guess we did pretty
Yeah,
good.
I think we did pretty amazing, honestly.
Yeah. It's a long video. It's gonna be pretty fun to edit, but I had fun making it, man. I definitely did.
Well, thank you for having me, Arveuss.
Of course, man. Of course. In the future, we could have more of these kind of videos. Maybe one on your channel. We'll see. But it was really fun for me.
Yeah, I loved it. It was so good. I love talking about this stuff. I could just do it all day.
And to everyone watching, again, Mugen's channel is linked in the description. Check him out. But thanks for watching. That's gonna be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed, and peace.